Well, welcome to another wonderful episode of Spiritual Tea Time with RevPayshence here on Indigo Psychics TV, sponsored by Indigo Psychics, known for coffee and clarity, and also our loose leaf teas as well. They are all freshly done and brewed and roasted to your um, online order when you put it in. We have all different type of flavors. We have light, medium, dark roast. We have every type. We have from whole bean to espresso to standard and coarse type features for your beans. And also the tea are so potent, honey. You can use them for your spell work. That's why they name like our jasmine tea is love spell. Our Victorian English, our English breakfast tea, we call Victorian seance because they used to use it for the tea leaf readings back in the spiritualist times, back in the good old England. Plus, it's King George's favorite. You know, we got to fuck with the devil, baby. Anyways, we are going to be having a wonderful show tonight. I have one of my very, very dear spiritual brothers, Eshu Morningstar. I could not ask for a more potent spiritualist and accurate reader you could ever ask for. Wonderful teacher. He also has a new mystical church that he has started, and I highly recommend and hopefully be able to work with in the future. We are going to be talking about ancestral magic, elemental magic, environmental magic, and if you're all good little boys and girls, maybe even do some readings later on in the show. Oh, good evening, Miss Lavidia. Thank you for joining us. She says thank you and good evening, and thank you for the wonderful guest. And I highly agree. Without further ado, Brother Eshu, how you doing, my darling?
Hey, I'm doing just fine. How are you?
Oh, as always, extremely blessed and highly favored by the ancestors and pissing off all the right people as always.
Oh, yes, you know it. Me too. Me too. Every way.
Well,
Ah,
the
so,
best way to do it is to mind your ancestors and just keep in your own lane. And it just pisses people the fuck off because they try to do bullshit to rouse you up and everything. And it's like, child, put it this way. With tonight's topic, but one thing I want to say, I am so blessed to have my ancestors that watch over me because you know my history and what I've been through. And you
oh
know,
yeah.
and because of what I've been through, I now have a reputation, I told, as being this Southpaw kitty, baby, if you know what I'm
Mm,
saying. And I
oh
have
yes.
not even raised a paw against anybody. I didn't have to touch nobody. All I've been doing for the since 2018 is just giving offerings of thanks. And that's it. That's all
Great.
I've been doing and taking care of my family and doing whatever. And then I get news so and so this, so and so that. Oh, they're not in the 3D anymore. Well, they shouldn't have done what they should have done because it's one thing to mess with me, but when you coming after my babies, my ancestors don't play, especially my Puerto Rican abuelita. That's whoo child. Oh, mm.
Exactly.
She's one
One
of my
thing I
inspirations for our Oshun coffee blend that we have.
oh, okay. Yeah, one thing I will always tell people, it's not me you ever have to worry about, it's my ancestors, and that's just it, is all I have to do is offer them something they actually like, something of their family, something of their origin, like even a cigarette, something that they like right there, and all of a sudden I don't even have to do magic, don't have to cast a single spell. All I have to do is just honor them and just say I love them, and they got me, and they always have our back. That's the one thing. When I learned the path of ancestral magic, I thought it was going to take all sorts of ritual because that's the way that I always learned growing up when everything.
Right.
But then when I realized it really was just honoring and feeding their altar and feeding the things that they loved, and rather than making sacrifices, you're giving them a blessing, and you're also partaking in that blessing too. And that's
Mhm.
just it. even falls into the elemental magic, that falls into everything that we're even discussing right now, because it's just every path that our ancestors walked, because that's just it. Everybody has has somebody like us in their family somewhere, and whether that
Amen.
person's a witch, whether that person's a priest or a medicine man or woman, so on, so forth. Mhm.
Oh, exactly, exactly. And and especially growing up in the South, and having family in the church, they didn't use the W word. We were prayer warriors, keeper of the prayer
Exactly.
time. She's a prophetess. You know what I'm saying? Y'all doing hoodoo and hood. Come on, all the mothers of the church are wearing white on first Sunday in honor of Yamaya. Okay.
Exactly. So that's what it is.
I'm saying?
American Hoodoo in the South. That's exactly what my family was practicing. And a lot of people have such a misconception of what they think hoodoo actually is. When you're in South, especially in Louisiana and the bayous where we're from, this was, yes, it came from the plantations, but it also came from the reservations and also many different other cultures. We had Hispanic cultures, which is also another reason why you see so many of the Orishas, but the Loa, and then everything's right. But you see Santeria in there, but you also see voodoo, but you also see, like, Ifa, which is what my family would practice too, and what I'm initiated in. And that's why, like, you'll see like so many different, so very varieties of it. So, but
Like a big
nevertheless,
pot
it's.
of gumbo, baby.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Oh,
so.
Baroness is from Arizona says hello, 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 baby. Phoenix in the
Hello.
house, honey. Woo-wee. Oh, you would love her.
Yeah.
One of these days, when I get my girls to come visit in Minnesota, I'm going to bring them down to come visit everybody down there in the cities. Oh, you would love her to pieces. You would love
Absolutely.
her to pieces. She Creole,
Mm.
but she born and raised in Detroit. She's from Motor City, so she don't play. Trust me, girl in the
Yeah.
house. Mm.
So nice. Yeah.
As a child growing up, was your family um comfortable with their gifts, or did they get involved in the church because of being in the South, having to hide it, like most of
My
us?
Well, my mother and her grandmother, so my great grandmother, were actually practicing very open, but they were active members of the. Well, my great grandmother was an active member of the church. That's just it. They were, well, what we would call Christian mystics, in other words, and so
Yes,
that. But a lot of what they were practicing was actually, well, Louisiana and Mississippi bayou magic, which a lot of people call hoodoo, and it was actually they were known as root workers in the area.
yes.
And so it was something that everybody knew, but nobody really like openly discussed. It was just one that was very much so known. And so the air prayers and incantations were done with the Psalms, and so that's why how I learned with a lot of my hoodoo practicing, because my father's side also that's where a lot of the voodoo comes, but they are not so open. Yes, I have some who practice voodoo, but a lot of them are very religious on the other end, and therefore don't even realize a lot of the stuff that they're doing even comes from a lot of the voodoo religion. And so, therefore, the ones that do practice, though, we keep the traditions, we pretty much keep everything, and we even follow the lore in Orisha. And so that's why you'll see a lot of mixed tradition with a lot of things that I'll practice even. So
And that's one thing I liked about it. Being of the ancestral traditions like we are, is that because of being mixed, we
Mhm.
have the native and the African and the European traditions and everything.
Exactly.
Oh, I've gotten slack from all communities, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Posting, if I pay homage to my Viking ancestry and Norse ancestry and everything,
Oh,
or my straight African ancestry or my native ancestry. I'm always getting slack from somebody. And then
oh
also
yeah.
growing up, and it's like it's bad enough to have and in the mundane world, but to see in the 21st century still the blatant racism
The
in
blatant
practice.
racism. And actually the erasing of mixed culture, and that's actually another thing that's been happening lately, is there's been a whole
That
whitewash
genocide,
in the spiritual communities even. And because of that, we're seeing so many people like you and me who are practitioners who practice hoodoo, who actually will who will even be silenced, and a lot of people will even speak badly of, not realizing that actually it's a part of our culture. And that's why a lot of hoodoo rituals and beliefs in America especially actually come from so many multiple cultures that you can't slap them as just one culture having it. You'll see
yes.
so many people gatekeeping it, and it's just
Oh,
not right that way. That's
child.
not how it's supposed to be done. The seven African powers are the seven seas. You're supposed to celebrate the seven seas.
Yeah. Oh, I
But,
know.
uh,
I know. Especially if your skin's not that dark and everything, you can't be doing this, can't be doing that. I literally, because of certain people and everything in the community, and some of them are mutually known to you as well, I
yeah,
posted my DNA to prove I have this and this. I honor my ancestors, and that is what I'm posting. I'm even part
exactly.
synthetic Jew. I recently found out as well when we got the DNA, when they updated everything with all the new updates and stuff. My brother calls me up, "Sis, you won't believe this." I'm like, what the fuck? And see, and the funny thing is, I found it funny because growing up adopted, the ancestors still placed me in an adoptive family where the environment I grew up where it was predominantly, besides being of having the black influence, you had a lot of Jews. Like in
Hmm.
Jupiter, Florida, in a 5 mile radius, you'll literally find 10 different synagogues from extreme Orthodox to modern congregation. I mean,
Oh yeah,
there are more Hanukkah decorations during Christmas time than there is. I mean, at the public schools in Florida, the kids get off for high holy days, you know?
exactly.
And then to find out that if you are of Sephardic heritage, you come from the tribe of Judah, which you are from the lineage of Solomon, which is the lineage of Christ. And then
Exactly.
it always explained to me why besides the angels getting along, the demons get along just as well. It's like, oh,
Exactly.
that explains.
And
Being born a Capricorn, devil is my card. Whew.
I mean, I even have like, Jewish mysticism because even on my father's side as well, because there's so much of a mix, there's even Judaism in that family. And so
Yep.
that's why, like, you'll see, I have such a mixture of my ancestry even, which is why with my ancestral heritage, I thought it was just going to take me mainly through voodoo because when I was going through all of that, it was it was that initiation. But that's when it took me through all the other cultures, and that's where I even came with the whole seven seas with the seven African powers. Was then I started realizing we can actually talk to all of them. We're connected to all of them. And that's
Mhm.
actually, and now all of that information came from those channels and those spirits talking to me. And then, like, the stuff that we were reading and the stuff that even you and I were learning along the way, like I mean, that just confirmed what we already knew. And that's
Oh yeah,
just it.
like
We're also
deja vu moments, man. You know.
exactly.
Oh,
And
Baroness Lisa says craft community gatekeeps for the wrong reasons. You preach, girl.
all the
That is the
reasons.
truth. And it's sad because we all could learn from each other.
Exactly.
Tomato,
That's what
tomato.
we're here for.
We're all one, actually, we're all one race because, if
Mhm.
something comes from another planet, baby, they're not going to look at, oh, you're this, you're that, you're this. You're of the human race. Okay. You know, Oh, Mama June in Bermuda says, "Good evening, beautiful darlings," with a big old heart. Bermuda in the house, baby. The tip of the pyramid, baby.
Yeah. Thank you. Nice
Yep.
to meet you.
Meredith Lisa, you're right. She says it's called universal law for a reason. Amen, honey.
Exactly.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's why I'm always preaching on the show and reminding these babies you need to get off your lazy ass and put in the work. Your life is called the great work for a reason.
Exactly. And that's just it.
Whatever.
This is not easy.
You
Not
can't be
easy.
complacent,
Right.
and that's why I teach, to make it easier to help through the bump and be like the a duck and let the
Mhm.
water run down your back. The negativity is sleep
Mhm.
meditation and using of the different energy frequencies. and everything.
Exactly.
Even our ancestors knew about that back in the day. All the
Ooh,
major ancient spiritual places have been proven run on the frequency of 110, 111, something like that, which causes
exactly.
euphoric, which actually helps with astral projection, astral
Right.
travel and everything.
And that's
And it's
1144. Yes, frequency 1144 that will help you on that level. And so that's another thing. Like you'll even see, like it all comes down to our elements, and even when it comes to your astrology, even how each pantheon has their version of astrology. It goes into the planets, it goes into their element, and as long as you can read that person's number, planet, and element, it actually goes into a universal down to what our gifts and our abilities really are, and it even goes into our spiritual lineage. And that's like, you and I being in divination, you'll see see so many different cultures, and that's like, how we why it happens to us so easily, and how we can actually read these things so easily. It's because it's a part of all of that. It's a part of those elemental designs and those frequencies, carrying all of those on actually
yes.
carrying their own frequency. I hope
Oh
that
yeah.
makes sense. But
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Totally makes
Mm,
sense. I've had,
yeah.
several people, they're like, oh, there's got to be a catch. It can't be that easy. You keep speaking out into the universe. You're telling everybody who you spiritually work with, whether it be your ancestors, a god, a goddess, whatever, that you want it to be hard. You know,
Exactly.
like I had certain very stubborn elder in the Contra Hoodoo community try to tell me that she don't do that new age meditation. I said that ain't new age. You need to
Right.
you're teaching about how to work the Bible and everything. You need to reread it. Even in your Christian Bible, it tells you after you pray it up, you need to meditate in the Word, and that's what that is.
Exactly.
You need reason why you need to meditate is so you're not focusing on trying to control the how, when, and where, and letting pray it up, walk away. Let the energy,
Exactly.
give it a chance. Too many babies, especially living in this instantaneous thing, expect you to plant the seed and have the fruit right then and there. And it's like, no, honey. If you especially look at a lot of the older traditions and everything between the hoodoo, the voodoo, the santeria, the sanse, whatever, those especially older traditions, our ancestors did rituals 7 day, 14, 21 days,
Right.
and what it is, 9 days,
Right.
type
And where
thing.
the seven chakras are, I mean, they actually even are those. They're even those orishas too. If you actually think about it, the root chakra being a legua, those the gold, the solar plexus being Oshun, all of them, even down to the colors. You'll even see all of that. The throat chakra, Yemiya, and all of that with the sirens. So therefore, you're looking at all of that to those forms of meditations, and here these people are saying, I don't practice that New Age stuff, when the New Age actually stole from the ancient belief systems. And that's just it.
Yes, say it
Uh,
one more time for the church in the back, baby.
yes, the New Age stole the ancient belief systems. So that's what that was. And that's what the New Age movement has done, is it caused a major appropriation of the wrong things, and then told us we're not supposed to look at that because it's cultural appropriation, when that's actually just another pretty word for segregation and being
Yeah,
afraid of and promoting xenophobia, when you're basically saying to be afraid of your own ancestry. So that's
yep,
another thing. Like when you go into ancestral belief system and you're going into elemental, you're starting to realize all that racial barrier you have to let go of, and you have to
amen.
start seeing similarities, not the differences. We don't
Preach, baby.
initiate these things to separate from the world. We actually initiate into these things because we let people become a part of that world. Of course, there's some things that are sacred that you're not supposed to cross. And when the spirit definitely calls you to do that, then it's your call. That's between you and spirit. But rest of this knowledge is supposed to be shared. It's a part of our
Amen.
ancestry. It is our natural element. It is who we are. Otherwise, none of us would have even heard of it in the first place. Not any of us would have been able to channel it in the first place. We would have just been cut off, and this would not be a conversation.
Amen. You hit it
So,
right on the nose, child. Oh my goodness gracious. Whew.
mhm.
Oh,
So, just kind of how I've been. That's the message that I've been kind of coming down to, and also that's just why I've even started with the Mystic Church and everything. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
can you
things.
tell us more about it, actually?
Yeah,
Not to
things
get off
actually got
topic
put
and
on
everything.
hold. Yeah, things got put on hold for a while because the people that I was working with, they unfortunately had that new age belief system, and it just became a little toxic. But the one that I actually do work on, it's a form of universalism. People have different belief systems, but realizing they're actually trying to connect with their ancestors, trying to find that medium with the elements. It goes into all of that with astrology. It goes into all of that where you're finding out where you really actually fit and how everybody can really work together. And that actually brings a form of creationalism to it because therefore you're seeing so many people working from so many different paths, which is what the seven-headed beast would even represent. That's where we actually are all kind of working with that element, that passion within us. We're all connected. And so that's kind of what I've been working with, those elements. And that's the people that I've been connecting with. And those are the people that are actually even a part of that. So it's not like, we're some tight knit like group or anything. We're all over the place and we're more just kind of a collective of people with different beliefs and backgrounds and seeing where we have the common net psychic connection, and it's all about the frequency that we're on. And we just have a tendency of finding each other. I mean, and that's just it. We see our similarities, not the differences. We actually start to realize we're channeling the same sources, even. And that's kind of what I wanted to go with it. Unfortunately, some of the people that I've worked with in the past, though, they want to go a different direction. And it's not about religion. I mean, that's just it. You've joined religion, you're going to get away from spirituality. You want people to basically come have their own free form and their own belief system, and even at the same time be celebrated. But nevertheless, we all have that connection to that higher source, whether you call it source, God, whether it's the seven African powers, or whether it's, many gods and deities. It's all connected because they're archetypes of us, they're all pieces of us.
Yes,
So, and that's what divination even teaches us, is that it's actually always been us. That's what the tree of life is. It's our body. We're the root. We're all of those things. And we are divinity. So that's
right.
what it is. So, and that's even like, I think that a lot of them have it right. It's just unfortunately they get that divided thinking or the name wrong, and all of a sudden people are suddenly at war and fighting with each other. And then when suddenly something starts to make sense, people who feel it will say, oh, that's a different culture. You need to fear that. You can't touch that. When really, we all came from Africa if you look into history. So that's another thing. You can't really judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. I love that you're coming together like that. That's just, similar philosophy of the Unitarian, church. That's who I'm ordained through. And that's one thing I loved about them. They didn't care, as long as you love and respect your human view, your path to God is your business. You know,
Exactly.
whatever you call it, he, she, it, whatever, whatever pantheon and whatever you want to do. That's why they have like over 500 different titles you can, do for yourself. But as long as you're doing things in love and respect for your fellow human being, that's all that matters.
Mhm.
And to see you be implementing that and and building that in a church, we need more of those because there's,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, too many houses of hypocrisy.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
too many. And that's just it. That's why
Both
when I
Protestant
say
and Catholic. Oh,
when I say church, I say it very lightly because it is definitely not religious, and I definitely do not have some agenda. It's more about just finally understand that form of community, that form of understanding, and just we're all on that same frequency. That's pretty much what it represents, and it's working together, and that's
more or
what
less
we
what
need.
do you? Yep, what you have started is a universal spiritualist church,
Exactly, and that's what
and
I
I
want to
love it.
continue with. Yeah. And
I love
so, and that's one thing I am building now that I've left New Orleans and I live up in Minnesota now. I mean, eventually I'll go back down there when the calling is right, but that's just it. Like, while I'm here, I feel like the spirit brought me here for a much deeper purpose than what I originally came here for. But that's
Right.
just it. When it came to like, this is one of those places that even is connected. It's the same element as what New Orleans has with the Mississippi River, that Bobanca line that we have that connection to. So it draws from the same power. It's not so intense, so therefore, because down when you're in New Orleans, it's easy to get lost into that spell. But here you can kind of like focus a lot more. You can actually hone in that energy more. And I know you know what I'm talking about, but
Yes.
a lot of people will sometimes not realize that New Orleans in this area is actually connected, and it's all because of that Mississippi River that keeps it all together. Because it is the Mississippi is the veins of this country, and so
Yes.
therefore, this is like spiritually speaking, this is a place that has that type of condensed energy. It's a high frequency area. So therefore, people like us are just drawn here. And I've noticed that there's so many other people that come from places like New Orleans, or people who are mediums, spiritualists, witches, you name it. They all like have this draw and they don't know why. And it's like, I used to kind of, before I came to Minnesota, I would have made fun of the area. But nevertheless, when I came here, though, I'm like, this is home. Wait, never mind. This is wow. And that spiritual energy, definitely something to think about. Definitely not something to bark at. And that's what I definitely love about elemental magic, too, because I am an earth and fire sign. So I guess it just, this whole feeling here, that's what it gives you. So yeah, going full circle with the subjects. But
My girl, my favorite Puerto Rican out of the Bronx, Costa Rican vegan, she says, "Good evening, all." Ooh, ooh.
good
Booty down in
evening.
the house. Uh, she's the only person in New York I like.
Hey, I got a few people out there I like, that there's a lot of people I do not like, but
Oh,
it's
I feel,
okay.
I feel you. I feel you. But
We,
you feel like throwing some cards?
yeah, I can throw down a few cards,
If
and
you
so
guys
yeah,
are ready, you can put your questions in the comments. Let me see here.
I gotta light a cigarette for that though.
Go ahead, do what you got to do to prepare. Give people a chance to put your questions in the comments if you guys are ready. Yeah, I need to grab me out some cards. I didn't. I just realized I didn't pull a deck out, but I am excited. I just ordered me a new one. My favorite decks to use, you'll see on my show all the time, is by MJ McCulloughan, the Crow Tarot and Oracle deck,
Yeah.
and she is coming out with a playing card size of the Crow Oracle, which is
Mm.
perfect for me because her oracles are traditional size where they're 5 by 7s,
Mm.
and when you got little hands like me, it's a little difficult to shuffle the cards. So it's like I saw that today in my email, and it's like, oh, 2650. Here I go. I am pre-ordered. I am ready to rock. I am excited.
Alrighty, so yeah, I'm gonna get myself started here. Do I have enough light in this room? Hold on, making sure. Oh, I can see just fine.
Okay. My cousin Terry in Florida says, first question of the night: what is going to happen with me and my creativity in photography?
Well, that's just it. I'm seeing with the Wheel of Fortune, everything is actually in the precipice of turning it around because you are putting it out there. But right now, everything's been feeling like it's going in reverse because of the retrogrades. It's supposed to, because it's going to give you that raw emotion where you're going to learn from the Five of Cups, giving you an area where it's actually Five of Cups being reversed. You're learning from an old disappointment here. That's just it. Was it really a disappointment? Were these things areas of failure? No, these were areas where they were a seed that got buried and is actually setting roots and is about to start coming up. Sometimes we are going about our failures all wrong, and this is a position where honestly, It's not what's wrong with you, it's what's right with you right now. And that's why you have to kind of stop, feel these emotions, surrender, but don't give in. And then you're going to see gain with your photography, especially because you're starting to finally see the beauty in even the most ugly things. And that's just it. Places where people aren't always going to see beauty is where your eye really is. So that's where you're going to focus on your game. And that's where I see the ground really coming up for you in a positive way, meaning growth. And that means the areas where things are getting green, so roots establishing, and that's where everything sprouts.
In total agreement with you. I got forgiveness. So you need to, like you said, forgiveness of self. Look at the positive, not the negative, and that's gonna with your creativity, you're gonna have major growth. You're gonna have,
Mm-hmm.
see the sun, like the sun card, most happy. You're gonna be inspired. Be playful like a child. With your creativity. Entertain your teenager. Start taking pictures of not just adult themes, but anything that just inspires you. Even if you're just playing around, sometimes that's when you take your best pictures when you're not being so serious. I gotta
Yeah.
mess with her. That's my
Oh,
cousin.
no, I definitely understand that. So, you know, hope that helps, though. But it is one of
Oh,
those things that I see it's balancing out with her, though. She's definitely going to be very happy with how it turns out. Because when we see the star, and that's actually and that's how it all kind of goes, you've been coming to the
hey,
forefront, showing your own cup. Hmm?
I am supposed to let you know you're an anomaly, and you need to remember that. She says, "Okay, love you both. Love you, cuz. Uh, our pleasure to help." Mama
Absolutely.
June, Mama June in Bermuda wants to know, what does the card say about the near future, considering the situation with my brother? Ooh.
Okay, let me get the sauce deck for that one again. Okay, three.
Well, it's obvious she's getting insight. Spirit literally knocked this card out.
Yeah, this card I got like twice, which was actually the Sun card. I mean, this is not only getting insight, major revelation. That's just it. When things are obvious right in front of us, we have to finally actually state what's really going on. That's another fallen emperor when I see this on the reverse. And that's not always a bad thing when somebody's falling, because this actually is their chance to finally, wow, build back up with the success card with with the 6 of Pentacles. This is actually not only the biggest blessing in disguise for everybody, it's the best result that could have happened from an oppressive situation. So you being the person to finally say something here, you've opened their mind, and that's another thing. You're on the right path with that. Okay.
My card, I got, besides the insight card, because we knew that was already happened and everything. I got Papa Joe in my right ear. He said hello to you. And you know who I'm talking about, Frog Prince. Um, but anyways, confirmation, you guys are going to be building. I got the bond card, good luck, and growth. You guys are going to be rebuilding, starting from scratch. And in doing so with the healing process, it's going to help you both build the lives that you guys have always wanted, because you're finally healing whatever hurt that you guys have been holding on to since childhood between each other, is what I'm hearing. This is something that's been building up for years and years and years, and now it's the healing. Since that healing process is going to start, like he was saying, you're going to have all that kind of success. you know it's part of your self-interest. It's part of that healing process. Oh, look, forgiveness on the bottom of the thing with a big old skeleton ski. Eshu says, open up the door to success. You need to give forgiveness.
Which
Does that make
definitely
sense?
goes, yes, and that goes with the Magician card that I just pulled from my Tree of Life. That's
Yes.
another thing. The biggest root is the Magician, with everything being with Papa Legba getting you out of the crossroads. That is what your focus is for this retrograde, especially because if you look, the Mercury symbol, the communication, finally getting somewhere. All righty. Ah, so what we got here next?
Mm. Well, we wait for everyone to someone else to pop in. If they do, they do. They don't, they don't. But this coming Monday, we got a lovely full moon going on. There's a super
Oh,
moon, and we got a few other conjunction things that's going on. So it's going to a lot of very combative and upheavaling type energies and everything. So I think we should do take turns. You go first, and I'll follow up behind you. A collective reading to what people could expect for this Monday coming up. Plus,
okay,
it give me a chance
absolutely.
to smoke a cigarette.
We can definitely do that. All right. So basically, what I got for the collective at this time, especially. Ooh. All right. Now, Eight of Swords, with that representing interference. When you're seeing in duality, you need to finally understand what the hidden message is. Is it really interfering with your plans, or is it something that is happening because you might not necessarily be in control of what's happening next, and you can't necessarily, and you need to be humbled with it? This is a position where if you go into this with a kind of feeling the conflict and especially reacting off of your first emotion, we are going to pretty much be giving up a major opportunity here. And this is going to be a position where you're going to really screw up your chances. You have to finally understand spiritually here when you're thinking with that way of thinking, you're thinking ahead. You're using foresight instead of hindsight here. You're looking at your cups getting filled because you're actually going in with this with the caring emotion. Remember that empathy does not always mean sympathy. You do care, it's just you're not falling for the other trick. You're not letting yourself be blindsided or even gaslighted. Just because people's feelings might even get hurt, that is not falling to ruin. What falls to ruin is if you live a lie at this particular time. This is a moon
Amen.
of revolution. This is a time of revelation. This is the star out with the old and with the new, but this is also a position where you definitely have to face the truth because there is no running from it, there is no hiding from it. You can't smoke it away, you can't shove it away. It's going to face everything and reflect and realize at this point because things are getting very serious, and that's just it. We're shifting into a new era, and so therefore, while you shift in 5D, we are facing the problems because we are definitely in a position where we're finally actually seeing that power within ourselves and the responsibility that really has. Hope that helps. So yeah.
You know what? My card just gave confirmation of what you're saying because of the mischief energies that are afoot and everything with all the retrograde being full moon and there's even solar flares, amping all the energies and everything. You need, like I said, doing like grounding, balancing out and everything. Not
Mm,
letting, negative intrusive thoughts, feel it, but move, push through it. Go take a nap, go listen to some kind of frequency or subliminal or something to get you in your mind right and everything. Make sure you're anointed, using lavender, cedarwood blended together, frankincense, clary sage on the crown, 5 points,
mm,
doing it daily, especially during this full moon. Like I said,
exactly.
keeping yourself waterproof. Take that spiritual bath, doing some major cleansing. This would be a great moon and everything, especially being on a Monday to do a spiritual to release anything. So you can open up them doors to prosperity and abundance and happiness and good health and wealth and everything. Makes sense.
Exactly. Makes perfect sense. Definite confirmation and a lot more too, because that also is talking about a lot of things that I was even seeing too, with this mischief energy definitely be coming here to trip us up. But that's just what Elegua is. Especially, we have to remember that this is the time of the divine trickster. Even those
Yes.
things that sometimes seem catastrophic come with a very beautiful, reflective lesson. That's what I just got with the Queen of Cups, right as I was even talking about that.
Right.
So, you
Exactly.
know, the reflection of yourself, even though it's twisted and distorted, it's actually beautiful because it's an opportunity to grow. It's that type of
Amen.
revelation. You actually have freedom with that decision too. That's another thing. We lose things. Maybe those were the things that were holding us back, and we have to finally actually realize that was what was binding us from our true power. So
Amen.
that's what I'm looking for.
Exactly. I am in so agreement with that. Mama June says, thank you both. It resonates perfectly with the latest situation. Thank you for confirmation, Mama. Baroness Lisa wants to know any messages from Spirit for her. What does
Okay,
the
let's.
government need to know?
She got three major arcana cards here. That's all I'm going to even say with these ones. We got the Hierophant. We got the Hanged Man reversed and the Devil card. And the reason I'm going to say why the Devil card is the best one out of all of this is because when you finally are seeing what your devil is, you are taking your power back. It doesn't have power over you. This is a position where you're not trapped at all. In fact, this is a position where you're looking at things all wrong. We look at the hanged man and we think that this guy's being executed when you're actually choosing life. You're evolving in this situation, especially when it's reversed. This is a position where you're opening your eyes and you've learned from a major mistake, but it's also a very powerful time for you because those voices that you thought were actually destructive were actually turned out to be very positive and they were what was saving you. See, that's just it. You might be thinking something's dark when actually it might be good. And this is a position in your life where I think that you are actually going to finally see things turning around because you're putting balance back into your life too. Also, you're rebuilding. So you need to give yourself some more credit while you're going through this transition. Okay.
Amen. Oh, Mama June in Bermuda says, I knew that I was going to get clarity from you two tonight. You both empower me 100 with the heart. Love you too, Mama. It's our pleasure. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Yep, definitely. Working on self interest, getting rid of the old rats, the old mindset, like he's saying. Because I don't know if you can see it because of the flare and everything, but the one crow has a lovely little rat in its claws. It's time to get rid of it. Still working on the negative mindsets. Allow yourself to go on an adventure. Enjoy the trip instead of fighting it. Go with the flow
Mhm.
because your gifts are amping up, girl. Miss
Yeah.
Pisces, Miss Intuitive. So definitely during this time, keep yourself anointed and everything because as your gifts grow, you know more spirit's going to be coming through and you'll be going spiritual TMI. Give me some privacy. Keep up them boundaries, baby, because those gifts are going to amplify. And I also see somebody else giving you a gift of some kind.
Yeah. We definitely got a time of abundance too upon us too. It's a lot of things that are going to happen at the end of this retrograde where a lot of things are going to start pouring out too. We're in the emotional side of the retrograde, but the things are about to finally start changing with that 3 of cups because that also being the end of a retrograde, things filling out. It's a form where we actually see the double in the cups. And that's why you see with the 6 of cups there being pleasure and all of that and you connecting to your higher self, your eon, whatever you want to call it at that point, or even your ancestors and your spiritual workings, your rising light, the phoenix, because it's like it's all finding you. You're not finding it. And that's another thing with all the spiritual stuff. With all the dark stuff that happens in the retrograde, you see so many other beautiful things that happen because they're beautiful transformative times, especially with the one with this one that we're dealing with because it is actually revealing that truth. And that's another thing with the truth, it's going to be something that you can't always we've been needing for so long, and that major revelation has been overdue for years. So
Mama June's a Pisces as well. She says Pisces in the house.
oh yeah.
Nothing wrong with that,
Water
Mama.
energy, that water energy too, that's another thing. Water gives life, and that's another thing. It's also talking with the throat chakra and speaking at that point. I mean, that's where we also see owning that truth too, with the blue, with the water. Yeah.
Very true.
Mm.
Let's see. Hi, when I looked up at the clock, it said 4444. I love it. I love it.
I
Thank you,
love it.
Spirit. Thank you, Spirit.
Exactly.
And look. And the deck just opened up the luck and growth. Confirmation.
Oh,
Confirmation.
wow. Okay.
Woo.
And that's
Child.
where we see that too. All right, sorry, my dog started barking for a second. Hope you all don't mind. I'm a dog lover.
That's okay. If you got to go take care of it, do your thing, child.
Oh, it's okay. She's good now.
Baroness Lisa said Ashe in agreement with
Mm,
everything we said.
absolutely. And that's just
Oh,
a
I'm supposed to tell you that's why the dawn and everything start doing them psalms and everything. What is it? Little body, big head. You know that one do it all the time that I send you all the time to remind you. Do your psalms in front of your door at sunrise. And also some of them, especially extra protection ones, 23 and 91 and 72, maybe even 55 and 54 added in there. Oh, and 52 I'm hearing. Add in there at night.
exactly. Exactly. 52 is definitely came up. I was looking at the numbers on my cards too, and those were actually coinciding with everything you were saying.
I love it. I love it when oh
I like that when when everything just matches up. It shows that we're all on that same frequency. Yeah.
it's the best high ever. I don't give a damn what
Exactly.
anyone says.
Mm,
It's always a beautiful, beautiful thing. And
yeah.
definitely, I'm looking forward to have you as a regular on the show. That is for sure.
Absolutely. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, definitely. Anytime you want me to come on, I'm definitely all game for it, okay?
Oh,
So
awesome. Oh, Mama Jude says she's been seeing 444 every day this week. Girl, that is a beautiful sign from spirit.
exactly. It also representing 12, which represents 3. It means to face everything and recover or reflect and also revive. It's to face your fears at that point. It's the third stage, but getting out of the third, it's actually getting out of the third vibration density. So therefore, you're actually moving to actually the fourth dimension. That's another thing that it can represent,
Yes, I
especially when
highly.
you look at it through the numerology way. So yeah.
Mm, I can't help it. I'm a smoker child.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, me. I
And
usually.
like I said, it's always when Papa Joe come around. You know how he was.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a chain smoker. Believe me, and usually if I were still drinking alcohol, I would usually have a thing of whiskey or even rum right now, right? So, but yeah, not today.
When he passed, Mama Renee Savant sent me his ashes, and his ashes came to me right on his birthday, August 25th.
Mm-hmm.
He was the one who taught me how to read. I remember being 15 years old, sitting there in Jackson. We were visiting family in the New Orleans area, and I was hanging out in the square, and he was teaching me. You know how they have the little cheap books in your tarot
Mm-hmm.
cards, especially Rider Waite. You know,
Oh
because
yeah.
back in the 90s, we didn't have all the 50 million like these little babies got now these days. Child, there's so
Oh.
many different decks. It gives me a headache. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
my smart ass think I was gonna be cool, you know, because I was nervous as fuck. This is the first time I'm ever reading professionally for somebody. So, you know, I got my little cheap book. He comes up, what do you think, Chad? What? Now read. Yes, sir. All that
Mm-hmm.
lady did was just tell me her name. And I just told her what I saw from the cards. And she thought Papa Joe had told me about the abuse and the cheating and everything that was going on in her house. And I said, I don't know nothing, ma'am. I just told you what, like the song from Leonard Skinner says, ask me no question, I tell you no lie.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh,
I'm sorry
believe me.
if the truth hurts and everything, but you came to me to ask me a question. I'm going to tell you what Spirit tells me, and I just repeat it. If it hurts your feelings, it's not my fault. Talk to Spirit, take it
Yeah.
up with them.
People in New Orleans used to think that we were actually little entertainment and sideshows, and believe me when I say I was not the sunshine and rainbows reader. So believe me when I say that. I mean,
Mhm.
I was always honest. I gave it my all, but that's another thing, though. I was also tell them the truth, and that's another because it's not about what they want to hear. It's sometimes going to come out very dark, but that's another thing. If we're telling people something negative, it is to actually help them. It's not so that we're trying to hurt them. And that's what a big misconception that people actually forget. And it
Oh
actually
yeah,
ends up being a good. So,
exactly. Because I tell people all the time, like the old Russian proverb, gypsy proverb says, "I'd rather be, you know, hurt by the truth than someone come and kiss me with a lie." You know,
exactly.
that kiss is going to be more poisonous later on.
Yeah, because if you're getting a reader that's only telling you positive stuff, that means you got to beware because that means they're hiding something from you that could definitely, and that's just it. If we tell you something bad, it could save your life. That's another thing people forget. So, that's where we have to look at the balancing of the scales. There has to be a balance, and there is light and darkness. It's like I tell my clients, you can't expect that you can't avoid the dark just like you can't avoid the night. And that's
Exactly.
why. Mm,
Exactly. My cousin says it's what they need to hear. Exactly. That's like I tell people, that's how I am and my girls and here at Indigo Psychics, that's how Eshu is and everything. We don't sugarcoat. Just because we
yeah.
southern doesn't mean we like our sweet tea, but that's the only place you're gonna find sugar in our house. Okay.
Usually I have a sweet tooth, but that's just it. It's like that's the only place, and my mouth is not a bakery.
Amen, honey. I
Mm,
had one lady call me on my company line 6 times in a row. And anyone who's ever dealt with those female lawyers, especially litigators, you can't tell
mm,
these bitches nothing because they're usually a Virgo or an Aquarius or have major placements of those kind. So you can't tell them shit, or they're an
exactly.
Aries. And
Oh yeah.
after the fifth time,
Exactly.
because it was actually my one of my students out in Arizona that had sent the lady to me, and she told her, if you get a session with the Rev, Spirit's going to tell her you up to foolishness and she's going to call you out on it. And
Mm,
this woman, because one of my biggest pet peeves with my ADHD is having to repeat myself more than 3 times. And then my
mm,
temper gets triggered. You know what I'm saying? And this
right.
woman, 20 million different ways asking the same questions. And I finally called her out on it. And so she left a negative review saying I had no sympathy and empathy for my clients, which is
Mm,
further from the truth. I don't have sympathy and empathy for stupidity because she didn't want to hear that the married man that she was obsessed with wasn't going to leave his meal ticket.
right.
You were just a roll in the hay, baby. That's honestly, the cards keep on saying it over and over and over. Child, I went through 20 different decks with the bitch to prove to
Hmm.
her. We were doing video chat and I proved to her, and the decks kept on saying the same exact. That's not
They always
coincidence.
say the same thing over and over again. It's not a coincidence. We did not make it up. Believe me when I say. Well, and don't they understand if we don't if we were making it up, we tell them such a much better story.
Child,
So,
tell me about it.
oh, exactly. I swear.
I
Yeah,
love Mama June. She says, I would rather be Frank than Sinatra. I have not heard
exactly.
that line in a long time, child.
I love it.
Now that's old school.
Good
I
night
love
to
it. I
you.
gotta remember that
Yeah.
one. I gotta remember
Mhm.
that one, especially for when I'm dealing with folks out of Vegas. Don't even
Exactly.
get me started on that lot. Mm,
Mhm. Vegas
mm.
or even New York.
Well, honey.
Or even New York. So
Ugh,
that's another one.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I,
Mm.
I, that's why most folks don't like me and everything because I don't belong to a certain group. I do my
No, I
own
don't.
thing. Us lone wolves are always the black sheep. Actually, I prefer to say the black goat of the family because I'm a Capricorn.
Right. I don't
Black
know. I'm a Virgo and
Phillip,
Aries. Believe me when I
Black
say
Phillip for president.
I just do my own thing, and no, you either like me or you hate me. And a lot of people, a lot of the groups, they hate me, and I have a lot of lore, and a lot of people love to make up rumors about me, and I just let them say whatever they
Oh,
want.
oh, I know, child. I hear some rumors about me and stuff that I supposedly done, and it's like, oh, and what else did I do?
I know some of it's
This,
really entertaining.
oh, I know. It's
I
like, I
love the
did
stuff that
what?
goes on about me. So
It's like,
yeah,
so I just do my thing, and that's why I tell people when it comes to honoring your ancestors, don't let anyone deter you, especially if you're mixed
exactly.
like us and everything. Whether you're honoring your European, your African, your Native, whatever that you're mixed with, do it with
Hmm.
pride. But
Exactly.
like I tell people, because when they're especially when they're first starting out and everything, ask for the ones that truly love and care and provide for you, and they will start
Right.
coming forward. Just don't call everybody, because you don't want that drug addict, crackhead, jealous bitch that was your old auntie and everything coming through. Because I
Whatever
saw
you
one
do.
girl do that, and all of a sudden she became a crackhead prostitute, just like her auntie, because her auntie jumped in.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know,
I made that mistake before Hurricane Ida, and I wonder why I lost my house.
and
Oh,
child,
but yeah.
lesson
Uh,
learned. That's like getting a spiritual spanking child from the ancestors.
exactly. It really was. But like I said, we all have our bad moments, and even though I'm experienced, I still make mistakes. We all do.
We're human,
So
man. It's a learning process.
exactly.
And just
That's
remember what
just
you
it.
did for your mistakes so you don't do it again, people. That's the thing,
Exactly.
because trust me, you do not want your ass handed by spirit.
No,
Okay? You
you
got to
do not.
remember, a majority of our ancestors still believed in corporal punishment, and they will still do that from the spiritual world. Trust me. You got the
But yeah,
chancla, the belt, the switch, you name it. Okay?
they do not
Woo,
have the
the
same
spiritual
morality that
punishment
we
makes it hurt
do.
worse.
Yeah.
Mm,
They do not carry our morality, and they do not care about your feelings.
preach,
So
honey,
yeah.
especially them boomer ancestors, honey.
Oh
Woo-hoo.
yeah. Especially the ones before that. Oh wow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh. Especially because we're mixed. That's when I realized not every ancestor needs to be around you either. So that's another thing. When you call the ancestors, you call the ones that love you and have your best interest, not the ones that want to hurt you. Definitely.
Exactly, exactly. Like I literally had one half of my ancestry hates the other half. I mean,
Mhm.
my birth mother's family was the clan. You know,
Exactly. I have some family that definitely I had slaves in there, but I also have slave masters in my lineage, and that's another thing. You do not want that you do not want all that energy in the same room because it turns into all
exactly,
out
and
war.
learn to keep separate altars to them. I have one set of
Exactly.
ancestors over here, another ancestor set over here, and that's what we do in my house and everything to
Exactly.
keep everybody happy. And but I
Exactly.
recently went through a major healing because I unfortunately had to deal with racism before I was even born because of my
Right.
mama's family. When she found out that she was pregnant by an Afro Latino and everything,
Right.
that they considered me an abomination of God, as my great grandmother told me when I first met her at 17.
Mm.
And they tried to have my mama have an abortion, but she was too far along by Florida
Right.
standards back in the 70s. And so every once in a while, my girls, when they do a spiritual reading, a gentleman with a cowboy hat always shows up. It's my great grandfather, and I told he was the main one. He was seeking forgiveness. That's why he keeps coming around. And I told him straight up in a reading, and I just talked to him like, talking to you. I don't want nothing to do with you. I have You don't exist to me. Thank you for sharing your DNA. Thank you for giving me your high IQ and everything. Thank you for making me the nerd that I am. But other than that, you can fuck off,
Hmm.
you know? And he finally left.
Yep. And believe me when I say I have a lot of that too. My mother being white and from Mississippi, she's white and Native American. There was a lot of that racism, and my father being the black side, it was not pretty, and it was
I
definitely
bet.
racism on all sides. And then me being mixed, I believe me, I've heard every word called those things, and that's just it. I went through a lot of struggling, and that's actually ancestral heritage was that magic is exactly how I learned how to love and accept myself because it took me a long time, for me to for me to love myself for who I was. And believe me, that was the hardest one of them all,
Oh
and
yeah.
especially part of initiation. So,
Oh,
but yeah.
I see a lot of our mixed brothers and sisters, both spiritual world and mundane world, where when you're mixed like us, and they don't want to acknowledge a certain part of themselves because they're taught to be ashamed of it and everything. And I finally, for myself, and I try to help others with it too. You study the sociology of your heritage, learning about how they, prayed and how they dressed and how they ate in their daily lives, so you can learn about yourself, and you'll realize nobody's better than the other. Everybody got
Mm-mm.
assholes, everyone got beautiful souls, everybody, in a lot of the cultures they didn't treat the women right, or they had slaves, or they had a lot of war, or whatever. Nobody's better than the other, so you just pick the good and roll with it
Exactly.
you know
Exactly. And that's
and that's
another thing. That's why personally struggle with a major drug addiction because of a lot of that, not being able to accept myself. Which it's interesting that we're going to about to close on that note. But I just pulled the card, the art card, the temperance, the mixture is actually what's alchemy. And that's why I love this card, and that's why I love that we're going to end on that note.
amen.
you know?
Exactly. It's
And
beautiful.
yeah,
you know
definitely. And that's why I'm kind of glad that I'm glad that I embraced it, and I'm glad that I used my experience to kind of help other people. And that's partly why I even became a life coach and even a reverend right now. And that's why I'm actually trying to spread that message and help other people go through that. So for everybody, all people of all paths.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I can't wait to have you back on next week. Make
Yeah.
sure you guys tune in. We'll have my girl Gussie out of Michigan coming in, lady of the purple door, and we'll be talking about all kinds of lovely things. So definitely, everyone, stay blessed and make sure you stay grounded. Love you guys. Well, good night.
Good night.